Hey, stay to Steve, please like and subscribe. Please click on the Deck Heroes icon. Click on subscribe. It's 100% free. Blood in, blood out. And also click on the notifications so that you don't miss any amazing content. There's a very quick introduction. Yeah, firstly, just to say, I did not intend for this channel to be anything more than a gaming channel. I like my games in my gaming. But I have got a degree in psychology and a master's in economics, and I've got qualifications in other things as well. I do follow current affairs, and I do like relationship dynamics, or like a bit of trash TV, but I also got a degree qualifications in politics, and following things with interest. So the hot topic at the moment is politics. Really not trying to pee anybody off for start. Everybody's been very respectful in the comments. I say, obviously the Trumpers are not going to agree with me because, never Trump for many reasons. But, they express their point of view. We agree to disagree. And that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? And I think getting to this point is actually a good thing. I think they've got to pass the beer test, what I've defined as the beer test, where, you know what I mean, you don't have to agree on everything with everybody, but, you know what I mean, afterwards you can have a beer. I don't even freaking drink beer. I don't drink alcohol anyway. You can have a beer and then roll on. You get on with your lives with a smile. You know what I mean? We're not against each other in this. We're all humans. We're all humans. You know what I mean? We just want to be just kind of kept to ourselves and just allowed to have our own opinions, and we make the best decisions as we do, and we're trying to optimize our lives and those of our communities in general, and communities being everybody, not just like kind of within our own groups, you know what I mean. So and that's what it was. And I like the kind of debate thing. I don't know if I can do it though. What I'm really thinking to myself is, I don't know if I can do what I'd want to do, which is have some kind of debate, an open debate, because obviously I haven't got a talk show. You know what I mean? I can't get drawn into endless conversations in chat either. So I think for now, I'm just going to do what I'm doing, just kind of state my points in relation to a video I'm presenting, and then people got an opportunity to respond. And you know what I mean? If it's got any kind of grounding in anything at all, then I may well put a comment in myself. I might not. And maybe just keep it like there. Anyway, so we're going back to the main thing. This host here, I don't usually watch this host because, and he's a very smart man. He is a very smart man, but he gets drawn into like all this kind of poetry and stuff, and it's like, no man, focus on the thing. So we're gonna watch just a few minutes. Well, I think he's actually got a very good summary. Let's go.
Harris is coming off a big cosign from Beyonce, who was basically one of the only cultural figures in America left who has a Taylor Swift level following. It was a big deal to get her cosign, and a bigger, larger deal to get her doing that rally this weekend. The Houston singer is known for her singing, dancing, for her R&B, for her lyrics, and even for her recent dabbling into the country space. She is known and beloved by many voting Americans, many people who are more into music than politics, and she told her followers very clearly with Harris that voting is a powerful tool.
For all the men and women in this room and watching around the country, we need you. Your voice has power and magnitude. Your vote is one of the most valuable tools, and we need you.
Men across America do not want to...
Just to say, before I go on to Kamala, I'm not trying to say in any sense of the word, that we should be listening to Hulk Hogan and then they're going for the Orange Man, or going for Kamala because of Beyonce. It's only just food for thought, and I think people buy into celebrity, on some kind of level. It's just interesting to hear what's been written for them to say. I don't think any of us think any kind of somebody who's invested their life in wrestling or put in, work into the gym is necessarily going to be some kind of boffin, or somebody that can hold a mic and is blessed with a natural singing voice and maybe some ability to sing words off a script. You know what I mean? Is necessarily going to know about politics, but they're entitled to their point of view, and I don't want to kind of bring it back. But I say I'm a man who listens to the academics for advice on stuff, and that's another reason why I would never be a never Trump. You know what I mean? Because anyway, that's another thing. But anyway, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. But having said that, it's interesting that the world, like most if we were going to keep a tally, then most of the celebrities are beyond one of the candidates, and it's not the orange candidate. And I think that's the thing. I'm also thinking, oh man, I don't like doing this. Should I? I've got my own reasons about why kind of, not the orange man, but I'm thinking about Musk now. Why would a billionaire who's got one of the most, is he the richest man in the world? It's either the richest man in the world. I think he is anyway. Or, you know, one of the richest people in the world, no doubt. Why would he be getting some kind of glory? Or when a man has got everything, would he want to have access to, you know, the president direct? Especially if he thought he could, and this is just conspiracy, it's not facts, okay? And just thinking aloud. Would he know that he can buy this puppet and kind of just make millions straight away just by association and trade deals, and this man that can be bought? Is there any kind of value anyway? We'll never know. Let's go on, Kamala.
See their daughters and wives and sisters and mothers put at
valuable tools, and we need you.
Men across America do not want to see their daughters and wives and sisters and mothers put at risk because their rights have been taken. I see the men here, and I thank you. The men of America don't want this.
That was just some of that powerful rally and the appeal. Now, you may recall we headed into the weekend covering these growing objections to the double standard.
That's interesting, what she said. You know what I mean? There has been quite a lot of attention drawn to men. Maybe she's talking about men of color, black men in particular. You know what I mean? Maybe they feel that they need a little kind of rally up or redirecting. So that'll be interesting. And I've done all the videos about why men similar to myself who share my own hue would go to a man who's a white supremacist. Why would they ever do that? Somebody who had dinner with the Proud Boys and the crazy Kanye West. Geniuses. And he's a genius in his own right, injecting bleach, suggesting to inject bleach into human bodies to save them. Wow. Why would they do that? The man who was, him and his dad were trying to bar black people from even living in his own apartment. So the man who thinks that every black person, even Kamala, given all her record of achievement, where he's achieved nothing more apart from 6 failed bankruptcies, and the presidency though, that she's a DEI hire. In fact, every black person in a prominent position, now they're not in black jobs. They're just DEI hires. Why would black people, and I know I'm going a little bit aside, why would they do that? Bizarre. But anyway, yeah, maybe she's highlighting that she feels that she needs to give a little bit of push or pull back, that these black male voters not necessarily going to vote for her. Just quickly, I did watch Godfrey's channel, the comedian. There's a black guy on there. It's just talking the purest crap, and honestly, when I do hear black men say those is my community or I'm mixed race, when they're for the orange man and shooting themselves in the foot, just don't get it. And even for the non-people of color, just think about, if you think about how the orange man treated Pence and how he treats anybody who does not agree with his narrative. So even if you agree with some things, if you don't agree with everything, potentially, would you be seen as an enemy? Or do you agree with everything? You'd have to. Do you feel that listen, if anybody is pro the orange man, if you happen to be anti the orange man, and on any issue, do you feel comfortable in those spaces when you go to the rallies? Say if you was at a rally and you feel, well, actually, I agree with him on most things, but these things I don't agree with, do you think you could voice those things in the rally? And they would be in the mood to hear it. That's the problem. Because I don't think you would, and I think that's the problem. We can't, in this country, in the West, we need to be able to kind of vocalize what we want to say and what we think, and other people, if they don't agree, go on your way. That's absolutely fine. We have our own independence. Or is our thoughts being controlled? There's only one way to think. Is this person, this orange man, going to go after his political opponents? Or is he going to say, touche, fair enough, we can't agree on everything, but we want the betterment of the country, want the betterment of the people? Or is he making phone calls so that border deals don't go through? on partisan lines just because he wants to try and get over the line himself and things of that sort. It just goes on.
In this race. It is a point that was raised, for example, by Charlamagne in criticizing CNN on their air. This narrative where Kamala Harris is pressed on policy details or word choice or her precise distinctions of what she would do differently from the Biden first term, which are, of course, fair questions. We've asked some of them in reasonable ways, but that is put on par or on balance with Trump just blatantly vowing to abuse power, gut the DOJ, cancel his own planned trial, deploy military force inside the U.S., prosecute critics, target American citizens as, quote, enemies, deride America as a, quote, trash heap, threaten the free press, and do all this while hosting blatantly racist, demonizing events, including this almost ineffable rally last night.
Before he goes into the rally, and actually I'll touch on the rally very quickly. Well, the comedian, which has been brought to the attention in the West, I say the West, in Europe, in the UK. Basically, the one who's just saying there's a biggest lump of garbage, and it happened to be Puerto Rico. Well, damn. It's seriously, it's honestly, what I'm laughing at is how upfront they are, and what I'm thinking is that's not actually going to put off some of those Puerto Ricans. I know we got the Ricky Martin and I think Jennifer Lopez. I don't even know what these. I don't know nothing about these people, but apparently they've been speaking out like, nah, that's too much. Well, listen, yeah, but again, what you ignore, trust, what you ignore is on you. It's on you. I'm not. I'm in the West. Western Europe. You know what I'm saying? So just walk through the valleys with your eyes closed, man, and hopefully you won't knock into anything. But there's lots of obstacles around, and you should know. And if you don't know, if you can't learn, you feel. That's the saying. But I think they're going back to another thing that he said. I say this is one of the best kind of news articles that he's done that comes to memory. So honestly, congratulations on that. There's this false equivalency where a man goes to a debate and everything, all the felons and on everything, and calling up the Georgia and everything and how he handled COVID and the number of deaths and giving tax breaks to his friends and to himself, and he just goes on and on and on and on and on. He can do absolutely everything, which should, you would think, rule him out as unsuitable. All these generals that come out, and I say the way that Mike Pence and people are going to hang him, and he didn't say one word to stop this angry mob attacking him and his family, and doesn't do anything to kind of sow cohesion. He's just one who wants to divide for whose benefit? Well, his own. So, but for some reason, I just get this impression that Kamala's walking on a tightrope. If Trump had all these celebrities, it'd be okay, listen, let's all rally round and all that kind of stuff. But everything that she achieves, every reason which is better than. So if everybody's got whatever is important to them in terms of what they're going to choose, and I'm not trying to convince anybody, but surely when you look at everything in turn, one's a felon, one's not. That should be the difference, right? One is called up state electors try and rig the results, but no, he's the one that's kind of, all these things is just not enough to disqualify somebody who's quite clearly unsuitable, in the stupidity of injecting bleach. And the implications are just saying, Russia can just take Ukraine. You know what I mean? Just as withdraw from NATO. And see what happens. I wonder if that's going to embolden our enemies. What is the purpose of NATO other than world peace? So what happens when one of the major players withdraws from NATO? I can't think. I guess we're going to have to just wait and see. But again, I think anybody who thinks they won't lose, listen, if there's anything that you disagree about, I think that's when you're going to realise, and it's going to be very hard to kind of undo. That's the lesson of history. Once all the kind of people are in judge positions and primary positions, and everybody feels they can't talk out unless you're talking in the same direction on everything, a carte blanche. That was it, Project 2025. If you don't agree with everything on that list, you're probably going to be the next one. That's the lesson of history, recent history about how things are treated.
Now, we're going to get to that rally in a way, although I won't be airing parts of it on this program. But it was that contrast, which I think is front of mind for many people, which Michelle Obama really laid into at her Harris rally.
So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this, while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do.
Michelle Obama taking what many people have...
100%, and he only did the one debate, didn't he? He wouldn't even do a second debate, and it's like, it's because he doesn't have any answers to anything. Was it there's the formations of a, was it now the essence of a plan, the formations? He hasn't got a plan anyway, that's for certain. Or was it like the hint of a plan, whatever it was? It's not good enough, or is it? Or is it? Say if Kamala turned up saying, I haven't really got a plan for this. And I've heard people saying that she hasn't actually expressed plans. She expressed lots of plans, just not listening. They haven't heard one rally. You couldn't have heard one rally, or you couldn't have watched that debate and not know there was more than the essence of a plan. It's crazy. Anyway, it's gone.
Articulated and described as that double standard and using it for fuel, turning it into a rallying cry. And by the way, that's what the political right has done in this country for many decades. Fairly or not, supported by evidence or not, they have waged a simultaneous war of working the refs, attacking the press, and then using that to energize their side. Interesting to hear Michelle Obama do it in her own way. Now, this brings us to Trump's Sunday night rally in New York City's Madison Square Garden. The campaign billed it, pitched it as some kind of, quote, closing message. But it didn't go well, and it has the Trump campaign reeling in various ways because of the blowback over racist, hateful, sexual, and demeaning remarks by a whole range of speakers. Now, I'm going to tell you what we have deemed newsworthy about this, but we are not going to be airing much from the rally on this newscast. And I'll tell you the reason. We try to be transparent. Much of what happened on that rally, especially with the warm-up speakers, and there were many of them, simply does not meet our standards. I will report on some parts of it so you understand exactly what happened if you didn't happen to catch the rally over the weekend. Maybe you were busy living life on Sunday night. I will start with Tony Hinchcliffe, who offered what he billed as jokes, but were claims about how he says Latinos have sex, how he dubbed Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage, as the Times put it, how he made a racist reference to black people and watermelon. That speaker alone driving an absolute onslaught of bad press and headlines. And of course, that not only looks bad, it distracts from what the campaign said was their closing message. Of course, the things that they're getting in trouble for are part of Donald Trump's closing message. He recently himself called America a garbage can for the world based on his views of immigration. He's doubled down on attacking opponents as the enemy within. He did that last night. I can tell you that most of the extreme vile attacks came from the assorted speakers that the campaign had handpicked for their big closing rally. And so one thing that's happening today is a kind of faux distancing from the campaign to its handpicked speakers that's familiar to anyone who's spent any time on the political internet, where you see trolls, maybe even people you know, repost some hateful material or just ask insulting questions and then claim they're not endorsing those positions. They're just, putting that bile out into the world. Now, I will summarize, according to reports, some of what we heard without re-airing it. One of those warm-up speakers literally called Harris the Antichrist, another the devil, another saying she had pimp handlers, as a New York Times account summarized, another claiming Democrats are degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters. Every one of them is that quote. That's a claim that would act.
That's crazy. I think maybe the far right are and the most anti-Semite. I think so.
Actually be arguable defamation if you name specific people. Most American Jews are registered Democrats. Kamala Harris is married to a Jewish American Democrat, if you want to get into it. But fact-checking this kind of lying venom only takes you so far. The New York Times lead reported that this closing rally, which would have shocked anyone a couple decades back in American life, was a, quote, vivid and at times racist display of the dark energy animating the MAGA movement. Now, as for the campaigning around all this, there are times where Kamala Harris has tried to transcend or glide past the so-called Trump show to make sure she's pushing her own message. There are other times where she's drawn attention to Donald Trump's extremism and hate, saying take him seriously to voters. That's what she did at their one and only debate, baiting him into certain topics that relate to his conduct that she wanted to draw attention to. And we can tell you with the fallout from this rally today, Harris took that second path, arguing that Trump's extreme rally with the personal grievances and the hate and the vile speakers actually confirms one of her core critiques of why she says he is unfit to lead.
Donald Trump's event in Madison Square Garden really highlighted a point that I've been making throughout this campaign. He is focused and actually fixated on his grievances, on himself, and on dividing our country. It is absolutely something that is intended to and is fanning the fuel of trying to divide our country.
That fuel to divide us. One of the most popular artists on the planet, Puerto Rican star Bad Bunny.
Oh, right, yeah, they're going to talk about the Puerto Rican stars that are kind of pushing back about the blatant disrespect and the clear statement of intent of whether this Republican Party feels about Hispanics, particularly the Puerto Ricans. And yeah, just, I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm not Puerto Rican. He's dissed a lot of African countries as well. You know what I mean? Like as a piece of trash or piece, was it? You know, he's got a funny way of doing it, and that kind of distracts from the real issue and the disrespect and the kind of messages that he's putting out. But he's not putting out messages for me, that's for sure. And he's not putting out messages for any people of colour. I'm talking about the orange man, and he's not necessarily even putting it out for the what. I don't think he's doing that for them. He's doing it for his rich buddies. He don't give a damn about anybody else. Don't give a damn. Anyway, that's just my point of view. I'm not looking to fight anybody. It's just and that, to be fair to everybody, that's just my kind of overall summarized kind of conclusion on about how he's, from his approach. There's nothing I'm going to put my finger on and say, well, that he's done that for the little man, because I don't believe that he has. You know what I mean? So that's where that's coming from. But I'm not trying to fight. It's just my point of view. Anyway, hope all is good. Please like, subscribe. That is Steve, and I am out.